I would like to begin by very warmly welcoming everyone to the roundtable conducted by Coursera today. I am Ashley. I'm a Deputy Director of Times Higher Education's consultancy team based out of Singapore, and I'll be chairing the session today. Together with us, we have speakers from Coursera, as well as expert panelists that will be engaging in discussion later. So I'll just quickly go through the format of this roundtable so that we're all clear on the structure and what's going to be happening. We'll be beginning with a sharing by the head of Asia for Coursera, Eclavia, who will be sharing a bit about the global skills as well as the skill trends that are shaping the future of work and learning in the Asia Pacific region. Now, Eclavia is very experienced in terms of business and technology. He's been with companies such as Citrix, Oracle, Microsoft, etc., and he has had many years of driving success across these companies. So today he will be leading a conversation with expert panelists, and who he will introduce in a bit. And he'll be sharing a bit more about how generative AI is disrupting our world. And we're all aware of that in the post-pandemic world, AI is such a relevant and such an important feature of the higher education landscape and how it's impacting us. So he will be discussing a bit about that. After that discussion with the expert panel, I will be opening the floor to everyone in this in the meeting, whereby we'll be discussing some questions around skills and how universities and institutions like yourselves are understanding what the workforce demands and how you are adapting to the needs of your graduates as they are entering the workforce. So without further ado, I'll be handing it over to Eclavia, please.
All right. Thank you, Ashley, for the introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining this session today. My name is Eklavya, and I lead the business for Coursera in the Asia region. Like Ashley, I'm also based in Singapore. And I warmly welcome all of you to this session today. In the next 30 minutes or so, I plan to do three things. One is quickly introduce you to Coursera. Don't worry, not a lot of slides, just a few slides. And then I'll share a little bit about the global skills report that Coursera released earlier this year. I'll talk about top themes that emerged out of that report. And then I would invite the three special guests that we have today for their insights, views, observations about the themes that emerged out of our global skills report. And then, as Ashley said, he would draw in all of you to get your views, insights as well, because all of you are senior leaders, academic leaders of different universities across Asia. So we want to hear from all of you. All right, so let's get started. And this is a smaller group, so it's not a big group. We wanted to make sure that we make it intimate so that we are able to get views from all of you. So thank you for joining this, and I look forward to getting insights and views from everyone today. All right, so let's get started. What I'll do is share quickly about Coursera, just a minute, and then talk about some of the trends that we are seeing through Global Skills Report. One of the highlights for today's session are the three expert panels that guests that we have. We have Dr. Jennifer, who's joining us from the Lyceum of Philippines University, Manila. We have Ms. Bui Pham, also known as Jenny. She's joining us from Van Lang University, Ho Chi Minh City. And we have Beth Watson, who's the global leader for training and certification at AWS. I think she's the only one who's not joining in her daytime because Beth is based out of US and it's almost like 8 p.m. for her. So Beth, thank you for joining late evening. All right. So quick introduction of Coursera. I hope all of you know about Coursera, but just in case you don't, Coursera is the world's largest online ecosystem. And we say it as an ecosystem because we are bringing the learners, the educators, and the institutions together. In addition to 155 million learners that learn on Coursera, there are about 7,000 plus institutions that trust Coursera platform. And that trust comes from the fact that all the content on Coursera platform is from the top universities or companies, and that's why the content is extremely high quality. Just as an example, if you see towards on the left of the slide are the world's top universities which provide content and learning opportunity to learners across the world on Coursera platform. And similarly, given the importance of skills-based learning, we also want to make sure that the learners have the ability to learn from the top companies. And you see AWS right up there. We have Beth today from AWS, so we'll hear a lot from her as well. So this is the kind of content that's available on Coursera platform. And given that all of you are leaders from the universities, how do we work with universities is what this slide talks about. Now, there are few things that we feel as a university leader, all of you are thinking about, and I'm sure you're thinking about at least few of them, if not all. And as Coursera, when we work with universities, we feel that we are able to deliver an impact on these four goals that the university leaders have. First is strengthening the academic excellence, and we've seen, unlike past where the curriculums didn't change for many, many years, we can't afford to do it now because the way the things are changing so fast outside, we want to make sure that both students and faculty are equipped with the kind of change that we are seeing across the world. Second, given that the job market is seeing a lot of pressure, so it's not easy to get a job just by having a good grade. And that's why it is important that the students learn something which is important for them, not only to be successful in their careers, but also in their lives. And that's why the industry micro-credentials, skills first learning becomes extremely important. And we have seen that if the university does first and second well, the outcome in the mid to long term are the 3 and 4 meeting, the universities meeting their third and fourth goal. So these are some of the things that we work with universities to make sure that they are achieving their objectives and long-term goals. Now, given that skills are so important, at Coursera, we decided to do annual study of the skills across the world. And how do we do it? We draw insights from about 150 million learners that are learning on Coursera from 7,000 plus institutions. And we also take insights and views from 300 plus partners that create content on Coursera. We first came out of this report in 2019. And earlier this year, we came out the 6th report for 2024. And there were some brilliant highlights that came in from the learners, the institutions that learn on Coursera platform. And in the next few minutes, what we'll do is talk about few themes that emerged from this global skills report. And I'll invite the special guests that we have today for their views and observations and insights as well. Now, the first theme that came out of this report, and this is not surprising at all, this would have been a surprise last year or maybe year before that, but not anymore. There was a massive, massive demand for AI and Gen AI skills. And if you see here, on a global average, there was more than 1,000% increase in enrollments on Coursera. And first we thought probably this is part of a particular region, but then we went across and looked at the report for different regions. And if you see here, different countries, continents, and different regions of the world, almost everyone saw close to 1,000% increase in Gen AI. And some of the countries, if you see to the top, to the bottom left, saw more than 2,000% increase in enrollments. Now, this is not a surprise given that Gen AI is impacting different roles. And when we think of Gen AI, we generally think of office support, automation role, or customer support. But this is a study that was done by McKinsey, and it said that the role that will get most impacted because of Gen AI is that of educator. And given that we have academic leaders, educators, teachers, faculty members today here, I thought this slide would be relevant because if you see the amount of automation that can be done with Gen AI versus what it would have been done earlier is a massive difference. So this is a reason that we are seeing a great amount of increase in interest in enrollments for Gen AI. So that's theme number one. So I'll draw in our guest today. Maybe I'll start with Beth first because you represent a leader in the tech industry. You've been working in the tech industry yourself. On Coursera, we saw till last year about maybe 1 enrollment per minute on Gen AI. This year so far, we have seen 4 enrollments every minute on Gen AI. And that's the kind of interest that we are seeing around Gen AI and skilling. At AWS, you're driving this initiative globally. And I just want to hear from you in terms of certifications and training, what is AWS doing? And are we doing enough, or you see more scope of creating skills and training for Gen AI?
Well, thanks so much, Clavia, and thank you everyone for having me here. I think at AWS, we really do believe in democratizing access to education, ensuring anyone with a desire to learn cloud has the opportunity to do so. And I think this is so critical right now as technology, as you said, is rapidly advancing. AWS's mission remains to build an inclusive pipeline of diverse, skilled talent worldwide that is prepared for the AI-enabled ways of working. Now, what's interesting, and when we look at it from your students' perspectives, our research found that employers are willing to pay up to 47% higher salaries to people with AI skills. And we're helping people maximize their career potential with AI trainings and industry-validated AWS certifications in a competitive job market. 93% of businesses expect that they will be using AI solutions across their organizations in the next 5 years. And employers believe AI could boost overall productivity by as much as 49%. So against that backdrop, we have over 100 AI ML courses that we provide. And of course, we've partnered really strongly with Coursera on some of these. We want people to understand that AI training is not only accessible to them, but perhaps most importantly, relevant to them. Ultimately, I think jobs will change and people will change with this. And that's the exciting thing. So really excited for the discussion today.
Thank you, Beth. And, while you are representing the industry, but also important to hear how the universities are thinking about Gen AI, maybe I'll invite Dr. Jennifer from LPU for a quick view on how you're thinking about Gen AI in terms of curriculum or helping students and faculty to learn about Gen AI.
Good morning to everyone. Am I heard? Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Yes. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here in the virtual discussion. Yeah, yesterday, we have just invited our students and faculty to attend an AI webinar or a seminar facilitated by a speaker from another university in the Netherlands. And especially that the population of LPU Manila is 62% international tourism and hospitality management. And we were really updated on the recent developments, especially in the hospitality and tourism industry. And to give you an example, there's a statement by the talent and workforce vice president of MGM Hotels, and she said, if you're not going to teach your students AI, we will definitely not hire them. So it's really a necessity. So the LPU's approach to this is that we have to enable our students these technologies. We have to give them access to these technologies. However, the challenge for schools now is, of course, to balance the human and digital skills, because human skills we still need to teach the human skills, especially critical thinking, collaboration, emotional intelligence. However, generative AI or AI will really definitely change how the industry works. Well, the questions of the students yesterday and the faculty was more of, are we going to lose jobs? Definitely, the repetitive jobs, the jobs that can be standardized, the standardized services or operations can be taken place or taken over by AI or robots. However, of course, the human touch, there are still services that requires the human touch. For example, if you're going to the airport, definitely you still want to have a human person there to attend to your needs or to resolve conflicts, for example, or to resolve concerns that cannot be resolved by robots. So we have to, for schools, as for example in LPU, we have to teach AI to our students, and not only to our students, but to our teachers and our non-teaching personnel. We have to be able to maximize the use for our benefit, of course. I mean, for us, for example, to be able to make things work, or to generate faster results, for example. So, but at the end of the day, it's the human skills that still needs to be developed. Okay.
Right.
So again, as they say, technology should not take over us, especially in decision making. It should still be human driven.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, technology is a tool for us. We are not a tool for the technology, is what we need to remember. Jenny, I'll come to you. What you're seeing in Van Lang University, you're representing Van Lang and in a way representing Vietnam as well on this panel. In terms of building skills around Gen AI, specifically, are there thoughts on including Gen AI as part of the curriculum to help students and also for Gen AI skilling for faculty members?
So we know that Gen AI is really changing the world, especially in education. It opened up enormous potentials for personalized learning experience and to automating the work process. So for Van Lang University, in the last academic year, we initiated many different programs on AI learning, even from the university or even from the learners. I mean, our learners, including the faculty, staff, and also our students, try to learn about AI and Gen AI and try to apply them into the work and also into their learning program. So so we know that it has a lot of potentials and then a lot of advantage, but at the same time, there is also a lot of challenge, especially the ethical challenge, what we mentioned a lot in the education environment. So how we have to address this problem. So that is also like how Van Lang University want to emphasize in this academic year. And then we really recognize AI is an important element in our development strategies. And we already done the AI readiness assessment for the entire university. We have a proper roadmap to implement AI programs and all the AI application in the university, both on academic side and also in the operation, management and student experience learning process. So with the assessment, we recognize that we still have to adjust our organization structures. We have to build our cultures to adapt with the presence of AI. We have to have allocated the financial budgets, and we also have to improve our current IT structures to ensure that our students and faculties, when they implement AI, so they have all of the accessibility and all the opportunity. And the most important things we have to do is that, like the security for the data and also the policy for AI governance and AI implementation to ensure that everyone uses ethically, properly, improve the work efficiency and also create values for humans, for peoples, and also for the organizations.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And having guardrails, having responsible use of AI is extremely important. And we have seen with all the inventions, right? When you invent an automobile or you start a highway, you also start accidents. But we have to make sure that driving is safe. And similarly, ethical use of AI is extremely important topic. Let's move on. I am also conscious of the time, and I want to make sure that out of all the themes that we are seeing, we are able to cover at least 2 more. And the second one is related to what Dr. Jennifer mentioned a while back is while AI, generative AI tech skills, we are seeing a massive increase. The other theme that came out of our global skills report is exactly what Dr. Jennifer mentioned, is prioritizing human skills and soft skills. We did a spotlight of about 25 countries. So this report covered more than 100 countries, and we did a spotlight of 25 countries. And 20 out of those 25 countries prioritize soft skills and human skills as well. And again, this was not limited to a region. We looked at different regions. So whether it was Europe, North America, or South America, different regions had soft skills also as a priority. And resilience, culture, collaboration, etc. came out as top themes in different regions as well. I'll come to Beth again. You've been in the tech industry for long. There was a time when there was a MIS department and then IT department, and the IT skills were limited to only IT department. But does digital skills still stay relevant? Because whether you're sending an email or you're creating an algorithm, we all are in a way in a digital role. So does digital skills, that term is still relevant?
And that's a great question. And I'm smiling because I think many of us will remember when DOS was the barrier to learning. Then in the 90s, everything was about the intro to internet. And now it's about the introduction to cloud. We see the intro to cloud as being the real black base. We have to keep leveling up where we start learners. Every worker in the new skills economy needs intro to cloud to understand the how and the why we are interacting. Whether someone's working in a healthcare setting, where you're dealing with patient records and the security around those, maintaining patient records is such a key thing. But when you're thinking about it, you wouldn't automatically think, oh, you need cloud skills or Gen AI skills, but you do. Similarly, if you're working in business and your marketing tools and social media to get your messaging out to your customers, all of these things are built on cloud. All of these things have the capacity to also incorporate and be driven by Gen AI. So if our base of employees don't understand what the cloud is, we're going to have a really difficult time innovating in the workplace and building the next generation. Now, with all of that said, we really do need to accept and embrace that AI skills are important for all people, and I would say across most job families. Gen AI is not just going to be changing the way we work now, but how things will continue, driving faster innovation than we have ever seen. Now, this all starts with the cloud. So when you think about it from that perspective, yeah, I think digital skills is still a useful term, especially when you put it in the context of human skills. And so I can't stress enough, the findings in the report around the importance of human skills are exactly what I would expect to see. But alongside that, you do need to have the digital skills to be able to really succeed.
Absolutely. And Dr. Jennifer, you mentioned about human skills as well, right? And also you kind of very well put it together that whether you are in travel, tourism, hospitality industry, you still need to learn about digital skills such as Gen AI, but you also laid emphasis on human skills. And this is similar to what we are hearing from different universities across the APAC region. So just wanted to get a quick response from both of you, Jenny and Dr. Jennifer, in terms of what are the specific initiatives or plans that you have in the university, whether it's part of the curriculum for credit or the learning ability for students to build both human skills as well as digital skills. Dr. Jennifer, if you can share a little bit first, is there a specific plan then students are able to build human skills, soft skills?
Oh, okay. This year we plan to revisit the way we do our outcomes-based education, particularly, of course, with the advent of AI. As you know, in LPU, we do blended learning, 50%, we are 50% online and 50% face-to-face. And so the emphasis would be yeah, we're very open to AI. We are now at the stage where we are consulting our students in order to finalize the AI policy. But we're going into the syllabus to emphasize, of course, I mean, it's for the teachers to be able to encourage the use, and we will teach in one particular subject. We embedded immediately in one of our courses the use of AI, how to teach our students the use of AI in our different programs. However, we have to, as I have said, because the emphasis should along with the digital skills is the critical thinking skills of students. And so therefore, there has to be some sort of adjustments in terms of delivery of instruction and, of course, the assessments. So it goes down to the syllabus. What are the particular assessment, teaching strategies, for example? So we use, I'll give an example. When we do our face-to-face sessions, it has to be discussions. That's where we do our in-person assessments, so that the students cannot use AI to cheat. And that's where we do our group works, for example, and the other assessment strategies or types of modes of assessment where, you know, the teacher and the students interact, or the students interact with each other, okay,
Yeah.
without the use of AI. And I've seen in the report about culture and resilience that comes out as one of the in the top skills needed. And based on studies, for example, mental health is really something that is prevalent as a that we need to support, of course, that we need to support as an educational institution. And so our well-being programs will really focus on mental health. There was a survey in the Philippines. There's a comprehensive survey done among youth, and LPU was one of the participants to this survey. And really, it's the results are, I would say, sad, okay? Because 47% of the youth, and these are our students, they say their mental health is below average to below average. And only 1 among 4 students, for example, would say that they have above average, good mental health condition. And so this is the balance that I'm talking about. How can you have students and workforce with these challenges? And so that's where that's where our attention will be focused on. So our teaching strategies and assessments will be more of problem-based, project-based, and case studies, for example. So it really depends on the particular course, but the teachers are supposed to employ the appropriate assessments and teaching strategies, so that critical thinking, collaboration, and emotional intelligence comes out as a learning outcome. So the focus will be on this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you talked about in-person sessions, discussions, assessments. They are also elements of building the human skills and soft skills. Ms. Jenny, I'll come to you quickly for a quick response on specifically on human skills such as leadership, empathy, etc. How are you helping your students to build those skills?
So actually, it's like from all the curriculum in our university, we have minimum 3 credits requirement for skill learning, and those we refer to human skill. So previously, students usually go to class to take the course regarding the soft skill. We call soft skill or human skill, but then right now they are allowed to study online. So the popular course that students choose to learn, including leadership, communications, critical thinking, and also management skill. So they can either go to class offline or take it online. So that's the option for the student. So regarding the AI, so as I mentioned, this year we make it properly. We decided to create like an required course called Introduction to AI 101 for the entire university, but it's gonna be specialized for different school, different majors, because like you know that we are a multidisciplinary university. So actually for the framework of the curriculum of the syllabus, like we have the knowledge on AI, introduction to AI, we have the ethics in AI, that's it for everyone. And we have one special part we call AI for each majors, like AI for medical, AI for the technology, for business, or for tourism. So for those, we highlight the application and also the tools, the AI tools we use in the different schools and different majors. And we are working on the syllabus and we try to implement it in the next academic years. So besides implemented in the curriculum, we have many different activities. So you know that we partner with Coursera, we partner with Microsoft, and some of the AI simulation tools to provide also students and faculty the environment to work, to play, to innovate, to create many different AI models for themselves to practice and then to implement it into their teaching and learnings and also operation. And one more thing, actually, we really use AI for our English teaching, for our language teaching in the school. And this is very useful. And we have a lot of positive feedback from students as well.
Wonderful. And you touched upon the next thing that which I wanted to share is the outcomes, right? At the end of it, it should help in the outcomes, whether it's a university that is applying to help students or in the context of businesses where they are helping their employees learn the skill. And this is the third thing that we saw. The theme that emerged was that the skills training is tied to the business outcomes. And this is coming from the AWS Global Skills Study, that 90% of the organizations that invest in employee training report faster achievement of digital transformation goals. And this is what we are also hearing from the HR leaders globally, that when they want to hire graduates, one of the first things that they see in addition to the grades is the skills, whether the students have the right skills to be employed for different roles that they are hiring. So this is the third, and I don't have time to cover more themes, but maybe on this topic, I would this time invite Jenny from Van Lang to first share on the outcomes. And you talked about the Coursera platform and programs that has been leveraged at Van Lang University. What are some of the outcomes that you have seen as part of the program when it comes to skill building?
Yeah, so you know that like the objective when we use Coursera, because we really want to have an online platform for students to promote lifelong learning with the quality content. So I expected it as like 100% of our learners making progress and learn something from the platform. And luckily, because we have the dashboard to monitor, so right now we can realize that like we have more than 95% of the learner activate the accounts and try to learn something some things from the platform. So in the past 6 months, I think we have more than 6,000 courses have been taken by our learners, including like our faculties and students. And the average hour per week for each learner is approximate 7.5 hours. So that's gonna be the very good progress that we promote from our learning cultures in the university.
Wonderful. So it's not only the learning, but the students are taking this as part of the credit so that they are counted for credit. They are also building skills and also learning. So this is wonderful outcomes that I can see, at least from what you have shared. Dr. Jennifer, coming to LPU, what are some of the outcomes that you have seen, at least from the other campuses at LPU?
Yeah, so our focus is more of the job relevant skills. And through Coursera, our students are able to access or get certificates like, for example, advanced Excel, project management, prompt engineering. And we were able to verify, of course, the impact of these certificates through FGDs with students or graduates and employers. And on the average, especially for our College of Business, our business students, they're able to earn an average of between 25 to 35 certificates. No? So that makes them, they have the edge over other applicants when it comes to micro-credentials when they apply. One particular module, for example, financial investments, because what we do is we integrate them in our courses, but financial investments, for example, was made as a standalone course because of the good feedback coming from the students and faculty.
Wonderful. Beth, I'll come to you for your response on this. Given that you see what's happening across the world and how businesses are trying to transform themselves, what are some of the biggest roadblocks when it comes to transformation, and how should education institutes and businesses deal with them?
I think two of the biggest roadblocks are firstly the decision and the want to invest in training. And secondly, understanding the culture change that needs to happen to support the investment. Ultimately, I mean, you showed a great stat, but we need to help companies realize that investing in training is actually investing in their business. Training drives increased retention, it drives successful cloud migrations, it decreases time to upskill, and it really does support filling roles through internal candidates. But this investment really does need to be supported throughout the company. Training strategy needs to be thought carefully through, and not from the perspective of what is your skill-based strategy, but more from the perspective of how can training support our achievement in business priorities? And with this in mind, what does our skill-based strategy need to be or to do to support this? One of the great things that we do at AWS Training and Certification is on Fridays, we have meeting-free days. And we're really supported to prioritize learning. As some of you all know, Amazon has a number of LPs. And so these are really how we think and how we do our business. And one of those is learn and be curious. So this concept of being encouraged to learn and be curious, being able to give that time to prioritize learning, to me really showcases our commitment to continuous learning. The ability to, this really, I think, gives us the ability to constantly reassess our goals and really drill deep to identify what learning will help us achieve them. And it sounds just a simple thing, but really the ability to have this time set aside to develop yourself. And I'm seeing it in more and more companies around the world as well. Just it's a really crucial element.
Absolutely. And you talked about learning to be curious. I am curious what questions Ashley has for the rest part of the conversation. But I want to thank, so Beth, Dr. Jennifer, and Jenny, please stay on while Ashley invites the other participants in Q&A. But thank you so much for sharing your perspective, what you're seeing globally, as well as in your universities, and specifically when it comes to skilling and helping students build the skills for their career readiness as well as for their success in lives. And we'll continue our conversation. Back to you, Ashley.
Yeah, thanks, Eclavia. Thanks, Beth, Ms. Jenny, as well as Dr. Jennifer. Thank you very much for all your sharings. That's been really, really insightful. So just quickly moving on to the next portion in the very essence of time, and we don't want to hold anyone longer than we have to. I'm just going to be opening the floor to some discussion questions that I just want to put out there, and do feel free to share your honest opinions. I think everyone here is a senior leader within your institution, and we really very much want to hear from you in terms of what are the challenges and how your universities and institutions are facing those challenges head on. And I'm just going to open it to the floor, and if there are no responses, maybe I might request a response from one or two of you. And if you could very much, if at all possible, switch on your cameras when you're responding, that would be very, very much appreciated, so that we can see your lovely faces and we can hear directly from you as well. So on to the first question, which is basically why we're here. How your universities are navigating this fast evolving AI advancements in the Asia Pacific region, specifically, as we're here from Asia APAC universities as well as institutions. If you are able to share some of the strategies that have been adopted by your institution in facing these advancements. Open to the floor. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
It's not a strategy, but a challenge. Culturally, I think it's really the introduction of AI is still something not accepted culturally and emotionally. There's still fear, and it seems like it's from the movies, like robots are attacking people because they have grown so good. And so I think that's the biggest challenge that we have, the emotional and the cultural thing. I know we can implement that as an office or as an administrator, but the implementation would need a cultural change. And a cultural change is something that's not done overnight. It has to be, I think, done from the level of the students, from the level of the teachers, if we are ready for that. And the administration and strategies, if they come in, if we train and we give spaces for our students and our employees, maybe it would be easier to accept. I think that's really one. Though in our college, AI has been introduced since the introduction of ChatGPT. But when we get out of our college, it's still a big no. We had research by our students. Still, a lot of college students do not use AI in their learning because it seems that it is not also encouraged. So that one, I would like to share the challenge because it's still a challenge.
Absolutely. I think that's really relevant in terms of understanding. I think the cultural perspectives, particularly in the APAC region, and the emotive sense that AI brings across in terms of, especially in the academic space. Thank you. And we have one more response as well from Dr. Peralta.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to join you in this discussion. Well, I'd like to share our experience at the University of Santo Tomas. I must admit it's really very challenging and it does not happen overnight. For us, we started capacitating teachers and even students since the popularity of ChatGPT. We had to we held a series of institutional training programs, and then we also tailor fitted the training programs to each discipline, knowing that different generative AI tools will apply to various disciplines, and it is not possible to train teachers on all available AI tools. It will overwhelm them, and all the more that they will just be looking for policies that will restrict students from using generative AI. That was our experience. But I think it has been very, very useful to, when we hosted the AI Summit in the university, which was attended by a lot of educators and industry practitioners. Two things really were emphasized. First is AI capability. Teachers will not be able to give what they do not have, and they will always fear what they do not know. So capacitating ourselves, strengthening our knowledge, and opening ourselves up to the reality of the ever-changing landscape of education, the emerging technologies that may have benefits but at the same time risks, will allow us to navigate our own use of these tools. And the second one is AI safety. So as we said, AI has benefits, but AI has risks. And both teachers and students should know that. So there are a lot of literature already telling us that students and teachers should co-create knowledge and perhaps even co-create policies on how AI will be useful for each discipline and how students can responsibly and ethically use AI tools for learning. I think it is only when teachers fully understand the tools at their fingertips that they can engage students confidently in the use of these tools, and also uh, explain to students the expectations in order for them to develop the outcomes while maximizing whatever resources are in their disposal. So I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really helpful and that's really, really insightful. So thank you for that, Dr. Peralta. And actually, I want to touch a bit more about the AI skills that you were sharing about. And I think in the broader context, for universities and higher education institutes in general, the purpose is very much to integrate the relevant skills, right? Whether they be AI or as mentioned earlier, the human element and the human skills and the collaborative skills that are required. For yourself at Santo Tomas, what kinds of challenges in addition to AI, but in the broader aspect, in the broader range of skills as well, some of the challenges they are facing when you're trying to integrate these relevant skills into the curriculum, as you mentioned, there are risks to certain new elements that you're integrating. Can you share some of the challenges they are facing when you're thinking about relevant skills for graduates, and how do you think that these skills that you're trying to integrate are helping the graduates meet with the changing needs of the industry as well as the workforce?
Well, with our continuing consultations with industry partners and even for communities that employ our graduates, really the soft skills are very important. With the shortening half-life of knowledge, we cannot really focus just on covering content. Students will have to learn to select, probably search for new content, select them, find verifiable sources of information, and put this together in order to make valid decisions on real world problems. And I think our colleagues have mentioned the importance of problem-based learning, the use of case analysis, giving our students true examples of what kinds of situations they will deal with in the industry or even in the community will allow them to have a sense of, okay, how do I deal with this? And mostly these are all soft skills that they will have to employ. Of course, the core foundations of knowledge will have to be there, but the soft skills will have to be continually developed. Sadly, the challenge is educators are more versed at teaching their disciplines. So we're versed at teaching content because we are content experts. And it is very, very difficult also to um, deliberately put together or design instruction such that you develop empathy, that you will be able to develop ethical decision making. While conceptually this might be easy to think about, putting it in a course plan is another matter altogether. So it's important, I think, that there is a space for educators to continually engage in conversation on how other educators are doing it. Our advantage, I think, for the University of Santo Tomas is that we are a comprehensive university. We have the opportunity to collaborate with other disciplines without even leaving the campus. And that has helped us to create that environment of really having the chance to engage in interdisciplinary interactions or discussions to see how other disciplines are doing this, how they can collaborate in order to maximize student learning. Like, for example, there's a lot of talks about making STEM more humane, and therefore partnerships between the Faculty of Engineering and the Faculty of Arts and Letters may strengthen those. And of course, there are opportunities to also expand that partnership with other institutions and even with industry partners, say like Coursera, for example, wherein we're able to find sources of ready-made content that can immediately be adapted and may enrich our existing content. So the teachers will now just look at what kinds of activities can we integrate into our learning plan so that it becomes more meaningful for the students. Bottom line is to make it more meaningful. And how do we assess? So one thing is how to teach it. Another is how to assess it. And these are the challenges that teachers continually face because of the rapidly changing expectations in the educational landscape.
Yeah.
And I think conversations like this, we learn a lot from colleagues, and it's really very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peralta. And that's really relevant, I believe, in terms of trying to understand what is the relevant skills that students need today and in the future as well. And if I could just move on to Miss Amy Rosari, could we hear a bit from you? So I think Dr. Peralta brought up a brilliant point about skills and what are required. And I think, or Miss Evangeline, if you would like to share, what kind of data your university that you're at collects to stay updated with skill trends, because as Dr. Peralta mentioned, it's sometimes universities are great at teaching content, but then understanding how to create the content and what's the most relevant content is very much an issue. At your university, do you collect any specific data that helps you to understand what the workforce or the industry requires and then allow you to adapt your curriculum as such?
Good morning. Again, thank you for the opportunity to share. In particular, my thought is something that was not discussed so far, and maybe we can share with everyone. So we've talked about the soft skills, we've talked about the technical AI skills. I think we should not forget about green skills, the green skills, not the sustainability thing, because well, we're moving towards the direction, we're taking care of the planet. So I believe that we need to engage more in activities, projects, and programs that would promote awareness of our students and faculty and the entire university in terms of participating and contributing to the sustainability aspects of learning. So we teach them how to make decisions, we teach them how to engage in products and services, because particularly as I am a part of the tourism hospitality management program, we deal a lot of issues and concerns in maintaining our destinations and our products in the hotel. So it becomes necessary. So when you say data, we are referring to consistent, constant, regular meeting, with our industry partners. It's important that our curriculum becomes relevant because what we teach are what the industry is expecting from our students. So that means regular meeting, assessment, consultation, not only for practicum or internship purposes, but definitely we are also referring to other concerns from the foundation courses to the major professional courses. We have to have a regular, what we call industry academic partnership or industry board for that matter.
Well, yeah, that's really, really insightful. Thank you so much, Miss Evangeline. And I'm just going to open this. Dr. Peralta, you wanted to share?
Yes, just a quick one.
Absolutely.
With your question on what data we are trying to gather from in order to determine what skills to teach or to guide us whether the way we design our instruction really meets the outcomes. So we're trying to maximize whatever analytics are available in existing technology platforms, like for example, the LMS or even some of the platforms that we acquire, or some of the content providers that we acquire as well have their own analytics. These, well, the design of the curriculum are anchored on outcomes, established outcomes. And it is assumed that when a teacher designs instruction for a session or for a whole term, these are constructively aligned. The assessments that they choose are constructively aligned with the outcomes they intend to develop for their courses. So the analytics for whatever platforms we use help us to understand whether students are actually achieving the outcomes we've set. For analytics of exams, for example, or test questions, it allows us also to give perspectives to teachers on how valid the questions are anchored on their outcomes. So I think these we should also look at how educators and institutions can maximize the use of data to improve instruction. And I'm sure this is likewise an initiative of support systems like Coursera and of other providers, because we know that as we move forward, there has to be a basis, an objective basis for us to say that indeed we are moving in the right direction, identify students who are at risk of falling behind, and provide timely interventions in order to ensure that their success in the fields that they've chosen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Peralta. I think that's yeah. In terms of what students are needing, and for universities to meet those needs, we probably need to understand the data that is collected. I think there in the essence of time as well, I'm just going to leave us with one more question. I'm just going to leave with one more question, and I hope that we can have a good sharing about this, because I think it's really relevant in terms of meeting that skills gap, or the relevant skills that our graduates need when they're entering, industry when they leave universities, and the role that platforms like Coursera are filling and AWS are filling in terms of meeting those skills gaps. The question very much circles around online learning courses at the end of the day. So industry micro-credentials and professional certification. Now, I think Dr. Jennifer shared a bit earlier about what LPU is doing. But then from your own institution's perspectives, how are your universities helping to, in terms of utilizing such platforms and online learning courses to ensure equitable access for all the learners and all the students that are there? Can you share some examples of how your institution is addressing these kinds of issues?
Well, similar to probably most of the institutions right now, no? So we're implementing hybrid learning. But of course, online learning provides that opportunity to have a contingency plan whenever on-site classes are not available. And I think that makes education really more accessible, because in times of disasters and in times of calamities where it is, difficult, it may be difficult to conduct on-site classes, then you now have a fallback. But it is important to emphasize to educators that the use of online learning as a contingency plan to when shifting to online instruction should be planned. It has to be well planned. The contingency plan has to be in place. It cannot be done right on the day that classes were suspended. So there has to be a way by which online learning we can ensure that online learning truly engages students, and likewise takes into account their situations in times of disasters. Because sometimes even if we want to conduct online learning synchronously, there may be students with internet connectivity issues or other students who are actually dealing with the effects of disasters in their own situations. So this is where I think asynchronous learning comes in really. And we're able to take advantage of the fact that once the materials are there, the students now have the option to actually engage synchronously or go back to the learning material when they have the chance or when they have the capability, and perhaps learn from whatever the discussion has been. So they won't be left behind as well. And then perhaps an opportunity to engage with the teacher synchronously or asynchronously to clarify on aspects that they didn't understand. So this is really one advantage I think that is not available, well, at least for most for most educators have not taken advantage of before the pandemic. But this is one thing that we've learned during the pandemic, and I think we can take advantage of going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I think understanding the pros and cons of online learning is really critical in terms of balancing that hybrid approach. I just wanted to touch a bit more about on what the online learning courses from these platforms such as Coursera and AWS are able to support with. So that means in terms of addressing the skills gaps that some of the students may have, perhaps like, you know, for example, the reality of the situation oftentimes is that university curriculums may not be the most up to date in terms of the required skills that 21st century graduates and workforce requires. And is there an encouragement by your university for students to take up online learning courses, or how is your institution dealing with the availability of upskilling possibilities from platforms like these?
Yeah, if I may. Well, for students, I think again we go back to for educators to encourage students to take online learning, educators have to be sold with the idea of learning online as well. So that I think is where we try to facilitate regular faculty development programs that are done online, done on site. So a combination of both, and monitoring their engagement through the analytics of those platforms will help us determine how much of these or how many of these educators are able to adapt. Of course, not everyone will take it at the same pace. There are early adapters and there are laggards, but that's a reality. But that allows you to also know whom you will have to provide more support for and who can be your champions for these initiatives. Now, I agree that these online learning platforms such as Coursera allows us to integrate content without having to spend time to develop the content on our own. You'll have to pay consultants, you'll have to put together a team of experts in order to develop content that is really robust and can be adapted for let's say in your learning management system. So with the availability of ready-made online modules where we can just probably map or connect them with the outcomes that are to be developed for a course, I think that saves us time and likewise takes advantage of integrating expertise for all over the world. So it also gives students a different take on how to learn certain materials, because sometimes when you just learn from one single teacher, you get bored with the way that that teacher renders the class, and therefore this now puts variety on their experience and students feel good about it. So, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Peralta, and thank you to everyone who shared today. I think it's run over by a bit, so I apologize for delaying everyone. But thank you very much for your time, for your insights, and I hope this was a productive session for everyone to hear from both the experts as well as panelists and from everyone around the world, basically, on their opinions of what skills gaps are in APAC, as well as how platforms like Coursera are stepping in to fill that role. So with that, we would like to close this session. And again, a very warm thank you to everyone, and have a great day.